So today we're going to look at using the SolidWorks CAD design program. This is just going to be a demo of creating a part. I'm going to double click to launch the program, and while it's launching we're going to look at the part we're going to build because it takes a little while for the program to start up. So we're making this little wedge shaped thing. The part we're told is in mmgs, that stands for millimeters, grams, seconds. The material is steel alloy, it's steel AISI 1020, and we have the dimensions for the parts here. Let's see if SolidWorks is ready to go. Whoops. Just going to say, please continue to load. Give it a minute to launch. So we're going to click on, we have three options: drawing, assembly, and part. We're going to click on part because we want to create a part. Give it a minute to open up. The first thing to check is you all need to look and see, are you in the correct units? You have 4 common units in SolidWorks. So we're going to check, are we in mmgs, because the part we were told we were in mmgs. So depending if your parts, if the units are inches, you want to use IPS. If the units are something else, use the other types. But make sure your units match the part you're trying to build. So now in SolidWorks, what we're going to do is we're going to create a 2-dimensional shape and extrude it into 3 dimensions to generate our part. If we look at our part we're trying to build, the 2-dimensional shape I'm going to choose is the side. So I'm going to build this side here, and then I'm going to extrude the side into 3 dimensions. So we have these 3 planes over here, front plane, top plane, and right plane. Most drawings and sketches and stuff we're going to want to usually start in one of these 3 planes. I'm going to start in the front plane. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to need to open what's called a sketch. So I click on the little sketch tab here, and then I click on the sketch icon, and that will open a sketch in my plane. So what that lets me do is, in that particular plane I selected, I can now draw pictures in it. And I'm going to try to approximate the picture of the side of that shape I drew. So I'm going to turn on the line tool. This right here, this red crosshair looking thing, that's the origin of your shape. Sometimes it tells you where the origin is. This particular part didn't specify where the origin was, so I'm going to place the origin kind of just right where these 2 parts meet. Sometimes you're told the origin needs to be here or there. We'll show later in the course how to handle that, but for now, this origin, we're going to just start our shape there. I'm going to sketch a quick representation of what the side of that part looked like. As I draw this line down, a little blue line will come across whenever I'm lined up with the first point I drew, so I want that. I'll click that and connect across. So now I have this shape that looks kind of like this. We're going to go through and we need to dimension it. So I want to stop drawing lines, so I can click the little OK check mark here to make it stop drawing lines. So now I need to dimension the part. I'm going to turn on Smart Dimension by clicking on it. When it's grayed in like that, you can see I have Smart Dimension on. And next to my icon, I have that little Smart Dimension symbol kind of floating to the lower right corner of it. To dimension lines, I just need to click on the line. So if I want to dimension this up-down line, make sure you click on the line and not like this little point that pops up. So we click on this, scoot over, left click again, type in 50 for the 50 millimeters tall it was supposed to be. Click on the bottom line, drag down a little bit, click again to place it, type in 120 for that. Click on this little up-down line, drag over a bit, place it and make it 4. You can kind of left click on the number and drag it around a bit if you want to change where the number shows up. The last thing I need is to get the degree right. So to set the degree with Smart Dimension, again, Smart Dimension still on, it's still grayed in. I click the 2 lines I want the angle to be between. And then depending where I put my mouse, I get a bunch of different options for what that angle could look like. So I'm going to place it in here, type in 150. And now this should be the same, since all the dimensions are the same as the drawing that I got, my little blueprints here. This right here should be this exact identical to the side of this shape. To complete the shape, I need to create a depth of 60. So Sketch tab lets you create two-dimensional drawings. We're going to go to the Features tab, and this is where you can extrude the two-dimensional drawings into 3 dimensions. You get stuff like you can revolve it or sweep it, things like that. We're going to do a simple extrude. So we're going to click on this, and it says, how far do you want this to go? We're going to keep the setting here as blind, and we're going to say we want this to be 60 millimeters. So we click on 60, and then we say OK. And that should be our part. If I want to change the view on it, I can click these little drop-down things here. And I'm going to set it to isometric, which is where you are looking directly down kind of at a corner. And then after that, we have the final thing to do, which is we need to make the material steel AISI 1020. So how we do that in SolidWorks is we'll right-click, we'll go to Edit Material, and give it a minute to pop up. And while it's doing that, we will talk more about like what is isometric view really, what are the different views in here. This is just an intro demo thing, so some of the stuff we talked about quickly, but we'll be using it a lot during the class. So I want to click on steel, I want to click on AISI 1020, click apply, and then I close it out. And this is now what my part looks like. So I'm going to save my part, file, save it as DemoPart. Sounds good. Now, when you're working on, this is a quick part to build, so I saved at the end. If you're working on longer parts, you want to make sure you're saving intermittently. Like you don't want to work for an hour on a part and not have saved and then have the computer crash and lose everything. So saving as you go is a good habit, and I'll try to give you guys reminders as we work on stuff in class. But this should be our part. It looks pretty good, so we're going to stop the video there.